On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. A couple different wars possibly working on coming to an end here. We're going to see how everything plays out. Obviously, the deep state doesn't want that to happen. We'll see. They're going to do everything they can to try to keep the wars going. We're going to do everything we can to put a stop to these things. We are trying to change the world. Deep state is desperately trying to keep their old way going. This is going to be interesting how this transition works. Again, it seems like Trump kind of makes a little bit of a nudge. Stock market freaks out or whatever for a few days. And then what he's intending to do kind of gets fixed or resolved. We're going to be talking about that. Wink, wink. Spoiler alert. But he gets all these things finally lined up, and then boom, the numbers go back to good. So there is a lot of that happening, but we've got a lot of very strange things that need to occur. We've got a constitutional crisis without a doubt when it comes to how many senators and House of Representatives members are probably shouldn't be in office because of illegality. How many judges are probably problematic, right? Like when we really look at the scope of what's really happening, it's hard to have a lot of faith in this system. But I think Trump is going to do everything he can to keep the pain minimized as much as he can. And again, I think there needs to be some pain. Otherwise, people aren't going to realize there's a problem, right? So how much pain is that? That's always an interesting question. Gotta remind you guys for the show I'm doing Friday. We'll start Thursday's show. Thursday, I've got the live show. We're doing the Law of One. Not necessarily a topic for everybody, but something that's very, very near and dear to my heart. And also, I think, helps us learn how to live through these transitions, through these changes we're going through. For those of us that feel the calling to help people through this transition, I think it's very helpful from that standpoint. Kind of helps you understand kind of where we're coming at it from a little better, I think. All said, Law of One, we do a 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 Central on Thursdays. Live show, a lot of fun. You can watch it afterwards. Super cool. I put it on the YouTube channel, and I also BitChute and throw it over there. Rumble, I do it live. So, again, a lot of fun there. Also, Friday music show, we're going to be doing glam rock. It's going to be a lot of fun. I got a lot of great music already pulled. It's already recorded, so we're good to go. But glam rock, some of that good old-fashioned, long-haired, glam 80s, 90s rock. Should definitely enjoy this coming show. And I've got a small favor to ask to you guys, if you can, please. At least those of you that are on Rumble for sure. Very good friend of the channel. She actually helped me set up the Texas trip that we've got coming up, by the way. So 4th of July, we will be out in the Houston area on Pearland Road. It's a place called 2 A Days. I actually would love it if some of you guys would pop in there and just say, hey, Dan sent us. But 2 A Days, we're going to be doing the live music show. It's going to be a 2-hour show. It's going to be from 4 to 6 Central on the 4th of July. We should have the restaurant to ourselves, and it's a pretty good size establishment. It should be a lot of fun. But this young lady helped me set this up. She actually found a venue. This guy is someone that's helped out Badlands before. He was happy to help. And S. Jones, as I frequently call her on the live shows, she was really able to help make this happen. She lives in the Houston area. So S. Jones 39. S. Jones 39. If we could get some subs. I'd love it if you watch her channel. She actually does music. She does some really good music. Some very, very spiritual woman on top of all that. And she started a new thing with Nana that's also a big friend and helper of the channel. So they're going to be doing a live show, and they're really getting into some very cool stuff. Two Old Farts is what they're calling that show. But she's got a spotlight interview, S. Jones does, and again, a lot of other music and stuff. She's just doing a lot of really, really cool stuff. We need to get her sub numbers up over 100, which should be easy. I'd love to see if we could break 1,000. I don't know how many of you guys would be willing to help me do that. I'd love to see us at least break 500 minimum. But we need to get some subs in there. If you want to watch her, that would be fantastic. But ultimately, we need the sub numbers. It's going to help her be able to do live shows and stream with an additional individual and use premium stream service. And again, just a lot of stuff. If you guys could do small help, that'd be very, very cool. S. Jones 39, love it. Now, all right, now it's time to get into the news. Let's get crazy. Hamas has released the last U.S. hostage from Gaza. It's a huge day. Eden Alexander from Gaza, they finally let him go. He's a 21-year-old. They've been holding him since the attack, 2023 in October. Alexander is an American-Israeli soldier. He was released to the Red Cross representative in Gaza's southern city of Khan Yunis. So that's a big, big victory. Here we got Senate Democrats are seeking a vote targeting Trump's acceptance of the Qatari plane. They dislike very much that Qatar is going to give them this airplane. In fact, Laura Loomer's freaking out about it. It's horrible. It's going to put a stain on your presidency. Laura, you're a stain on this presidency. Good God. I didn't mean to bring her up, but Donald Trump put this out, and this is what's so strange. Like, everybody's so pissed off about it, but why would you turn this down? So Donald Trump truth. So the fact that the Defense Department is getting a gift free of charge of a 747 aircraft to replace the 40-year-old Air Force One temporarily in a very public and transparent transaction so bothers the crooked Democrats that they insist we pay top dollar for the plane. Anybody can do that. The Dems are world-class losers. MAGA. All right. And I guess to at least give what Laura's concern is, though I disagree with her, but whatever. She calls the Qataris jihadists, which is always awesome when you just, again, single out an entire group of people and then name call them. Again, do not appreciate anything she does, frankly. Again, I know a lot of you guys love her. She's way more popular than I'll probably ever be. And I know she's got Trump's ear, but I kind of wonder how long that'll happen, because at some point here in the not too distant future, she's going to continue doing what she's doing. And she is going to become a liability to Trump. And Trump's going to have to separate from her. So again, I don't know what she's doing, but I don't know. Getting a free airplane to help out. Again, I've talked about how would you ever trust it? That I have a huge problem with, but whatever. I assume they're way better at that than I certainly am. This was a very cool speech, and we've got like the second part of it. Hopefully it's still queued up properly. If not, I'll have to fix it. But this is RFK Jr. talking about, one, just the great stuff that Trump is doing with the big announcement he made, by the way, which is the reduced drug prices. Super cool. And talking about how, just as a country, how much of the total pharmaceutical profits come from us. What percentage? Just take a guess. What percentage of the total profits that go to pharmaceutical companies, what percentage of their profits comes solely from the American market? We'll get there. We'll get there. Hang tight.
This is an extraordinary day. This is an issue that, I grew up in the Democratic Party, and every major Democratic leader for 20 years has been making this promise to the American people. This was the fulcrum of Bernie Sanders' runs for presidency, that he was going to eliminate this discrepancy between Europe and the United States. But as it turns out, none of them were doing it. It's one of these promises that politicians make to their constituents, knowing that they'll never have to do it. And the reason they'll never have to do it is because they know that Congress is controlled in so many ways by the pharmaceutical industry. There's at least one pharmaceutical lobbyist for every congressman, every senator on Capitol Hill, and every member of the Supreme Court. By some estimates, 3. Pharmaceutical companies, the industry itself, spends 3 times what the next largest lobbyist spends on lobbying. So this was an issue that people talked about, but nobody wanted to do anything because it was radioactive. They knew you couldn't get it by Congress. We now have a president who is a man of his word, who has the courage. President Trump was taking money from the pharmaceutical industry too. I think they gave you $100 million. Yeah. But he can't be bought, unlike most of the politicians in this country. And he is standing here for the American people. I don't know what, there's writers like Lord Elizabeth Warren or Robert Reich who are saying that President Trump is on this side of the oligarchs. There has never been a president more willing to stand up to the oligarchs than President Donald Trump. And I'm very, very proud of you, Mr. President, for your courage, I'll say, because I don't want to be crude, your intestinal fortitude, your stiff spine, and your willingness to stand up for the American people.
Your giant testicles, your intestinal fortitude. Here is the continuation. Cool, I did still have the cut. Here's the continuation of that speech, at least a little more of it.
We have 4.2% of the world's population. Our country represents 75% of the revenues for pharmaceutical companies. We spend in our country $1,126 per capita on drugs. In Britain, they spend about 240. They spend one-fifth of what we do. And this is true across Europe. And the drug companies, Europeans, if you ask them, it made no sense what they were saying. America has to pay for this innovation or it's not going to happen. What President Trump is saying to our European partners is you've got to raise the amount that you're paying for those drugs and pay for your share of the innovation. That the United States is no longer subsidizing that. If the Europeans raise the price of their drugs by just 20%, that is $10 trillion that can be spent on innovation, and the health of all people all across the globe is going to increase because we're going to have better products.
And what I think is going to be funny is how many people are going to get pissed off in Europe at us because they already hate us anyway, right? But they're going to get pissed off at us because their drug prices are going to go up because we're not going to continue to pay or subsidize their free health care. That's not fair. Really? I mean, many of us would say that's not fair that we have to pay for you. And then you guys rape us with taxes and then insult us on top of that. Now, obviously not Hungary. Obviously not a couple great bastions. Italy is very kind to us, right? Britain tries to be, but you've got a lot of people that hate our asses big time, right? So we're in a strange transitory period. So here was the infamous post that we were waiting for, and finally came shortly after I got done recording. Got to love how the timing is. Donald Trump truth. For many years, the world has wondered why prescription drugs and pharmaceuticals in the United States of America were so much higher in price than they were in any other nation, sometimes being 5 to 10 times more expensive than the same drug manufactured in the same exact laboratory or plant by the same company. It was always difficult to explain and very embarrassing because, in fact, there was no correct or rightful answer. The pharmaceutical drug companies would say for years that it was research and development costs, and that all of these costs were and would be, for no reason whatsoever, borne by the suckers of America alone. Campaign contributions can do wonders, but not with me, and not with the Republican Party. It's not really true at all. There's plenty of Republicans that get pharmaceutical money, so let's not get ahead of ourselves, Trump, but hopefully that changes. We are going to do the right thing, something that the Democrats have fought for many years. Therefore, I am pleased to announce that tomorrow morning in the White House at 9 a.m., I will be signing one of the most consequential executive orders in our country's history. Prescription drug and pharmaceutical prices will be reduced almost immediately by 30 to 80%. They will rise throughout the world in order to equalize and, for the first time in many years, bring fairness to America. I will be instituting a most favored nations policy whereby the United States will pay the same price as the nation that pays the lowest price anywhere in the world. Our country will finally be treated fairly, and our citizens' health care costs will be reduced by numbers never thought of before. Additionally, on top of everything else, the United States will save trillions of dollars. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again. This saves us money in Medicare, Medicaid. This saves us money just in general. This saves insurance companies money. This also makes it difficult for the pharmacy companies because their profits have been squeezed a little now, or they're going to have to get it from other places, which they don't want to do. This is a big step in the right direction. And again, I'm sure it's going to be yelled at. Everyone's going to hate it on the other side of the fence. But again, once they finally realize that, oh my God, I don't have to pay nearly as much for my drugs, they're going to feel a lot better. Now, here's the probably the reality of it. First off, we already get ripped off by our drug companies. So what's going to happen? Drug companies for a while, our insurance companies, we get ripped off by them. And so I wonder how quickly they're going to be able to adapt to the lower price, because obviously they pay what they pay, but that's going to be more than the price it's supposed to be. Are they going to continue giving pharmaceutical companies extra money for the time being because the way contracts work? I mean, I don't know. I wonder how quickly this will actually shift into lower costs for insurance first. Insurance has gotten extraordinarily expensive, and the more government got involved and the more government guaranteed high wages and prices and insisting that everybody has to have it, the more expensive it became. It didn't get cheaper having more people on it. It got more expensive having more people on it. Go figure that one out. That's not how it's supposed to be. So this is a huge victory that Donald Trump has given to us. He's fully exposing Europe's free healthcare scam. This is him kind of describing some of what he talked about in the tweet, or the truth already.
This means American patients were effectively subsidizing socialist healthcare systems in Germany, in all parts of the European Union. They were the toughest of all. They were nasty. And I see that. I see that with trade, too. European Union is in many ways nastier than China. Okay? And we've just started with them. Oh, they'll come down a lot. You watch. We have all the cards. They treated us very unfairly. They sell us 13 million cars. We sell them none. They sell us their agricultural products. We sell them virtually none. They don't take our products. That gives us all the cards, and very unfair. So they're going to have to pay more for health care, and we're going to have to pay less. That's all it is. And believe me.
One thing I want you guys to keep in mind on, too, is talking about the tariffs really quick, just reminded me of this, is all the people or all the locations, all the news agencies, sources, all the people, all the politicians, everybody that claims that Trump lost the tariff war against China, they're paid by China. We didn't lose. Not even close. Not even close. China was in a screwed situation. If China would have continued on for another month, their bankruptcies and many other issues would have started to surface. This money that they get for the crap products that we buy, for the most case, keeps their country afloat. They can't afford to lose the money that we spend. We are their biggest audience, if you will. They couldn't turn it to Europe. Europe, there's not enough there. First off, they're taxed to beyond high heaven, so most people don't have the extra expense that we kind of typically do, which has been hugely taken from us because they wanted to raise taxes, so it'd be on par with Europe. That's a stupid way to fucking look at it. Oh, Europe overtaxes their people. We should try to overtax ourselves similar. We don't even have the same stuff they claim to have. First off, their free healthcare was being subsidized by us. I wonder if that's going to continue, right? Because that's always been the thing. Well, they got free healthcare. Except in England, where they obviously don't have dentists. I'm just joking. That's kind of mean. Kind of mean, but it is sort of a joke. Even Austin Powers made fun of that. Fake news narrative of empty ports, empty shelves suffers spectacular implosion, right? This is what the news media has been saying. Of course, the ones that are just trying to hate on Trump, not necessarily in bed with China in this particular story, but what we've come to find out, they're saying there's literally zero. That's one of the stories came out. I don't remember which stupid rag it was. Was it Goldman Sachs? No. Who was it? Well, there was some news air it was. I think it was Jan Hatzius, said on CNBC on May 2nd, just weeks after declaring that a recession was his base case for 90 minutes. He said that the most recent information is certainly consistent with the economy not going through a recession right now. It was a different thing. Sorry. I forget who it was. There was a news agency that basically said there are 0 ships heading to California. 0 ships from China heading to California. Here it is. Yeah, article written by CNN's business and politics correspondent Vanessa Yurkovic. Yeah, she's Yurkovicing me for sure. At least spit on it, sweetheart. You're going to rub it raw. But the MSNBC's rule above. Not a full-blown expert on naval commerce and logistics. Yeah, she's wrong, though. She's basically saying 0 ships are actually showing up. Well, here's the thing. These are the numbers right here. Can I make this bigger? Yes, I can. Look at that. The magic of clicking, folks. It happened right here. Port of Los Angeles is the red color. Port of Long Beach is the blue color. We've still got, I think, a port down in San Diego, and I know we got ports up in, I think, like the Frisco area, or Bay Area at least. I think we got some ports up there. Right? But just these 2 ports that are reasonably close to where I live. The 0 shipments, right here is the most recent data, and you'll see between the 2 of them, we've got, quite a few shipments. In fact, reasonably high when you go across the graph. That's just this month. That's right now. When you go across the graph, which, by the way, this is 2013 over here. What, Obama days? Obama, then Trump, boom. Trump comes in, goes up. 2019's bad. Then obviously COVID sucked balls, right? And then a lot going on. Biden apparently got some shipments, and then dropped way down in 2023. What happened in 2023? It dropped way down, almost as low as COVID. What happened in 2023, Biden? I actually don't know. I'm curious. And then it went up. Something happened. Whatever the case is, yeah, it's gone down a little bit. It's the tariffs, we knew it would. It's not zero. So again, just the level of BS that's out there is, well, it's impressive to say the least. So we're being heavily lied to. We seem to have people that are on our side of the fence that do a darn good job making things difficult. I've kind of come to accept that maybe, they're reaching part of the audience that I couldn't, I won't, I don't. And maybe that's what it is. And maybe their ways and their antics are accomplishing something positive. All I can hope. And I'm thinking, I don't know, sort of Marjorie Taylor Greene, throwing on Laura Loomer there for sure. There's going to be other names. Thomas Massey, I don't know what's going on with that dude, but I'm going to be nice and throw him in with the other two. I don't know. I don't know why we have these like oddities, because we need change. We need to get stuff across the line. We need to get, there's certain people that are holding out on some of the weirdest things. Like, it's like, really? You're going to get hung up over a Qatari aircraft that they're giving us? Why? It puts a stain. Okay. U.S. and China reach trade truce. We've talked about it, but it's a pretty good deal, actually. It suspends most tariffs for 90 days. It's going to leave a little bit of action in there. They're going to see both nations slash their tariffs from 125% to 10%. And then there's a separate 20% tariff on China because of the fentanyl stuff. So it's like 30. I think there is a Tom Bissett section someplace, might be here, right here. I think he says it's actually 34%.
An excellent.
So let's give him a chance.
What has to happen is it has to be fair for the American people. But in January 2020, President Trump produced a template. We had an excellent trade agreement with China, and the Biden administration chose not to enforce it. The Chinese delegation basically told us that once President Biden came into office, they just ignored their obligations. So, we all already have a large framework. The other thing to remember here, Jonathan, is that this is a pause down to 10%. The April 2nd level for China is 34%. So we will be working to see where their final reciprocal number ends up. And the negotiations are a combination of tariffs, non-tariff trade barriers, currency manipulation, and subsidies of labor and capital.
Right, exactly. We are making a difference. Now, big day of the stock market. NASDAQ's up 4.3%, Epic 18.7 right now. S&P's up 3.5, 3.25% basically. That's up a bunch. We're almost at 6,000 again. Dow Jones at 42,410. It's up 1,100 points, about 2.81%. Not the biggest winner of them all. Gold down a bunch right now. Again, represents the strength of the dollar because of what happened with China. It's fantastic. We still got Europe. And as soon as they start talking about tariffs with Europe, stock prices are going to get all wiggy, right? And we'll see what happens. But what he did with pharmaceutics, one, is going to affect the stock of pharmaceutical products. Two, it's going to affect other markets because they realize their things are now getting more expensive, which eats into how much money they've got to spend, or the governments have to start doing stuff more appropriately rather than what they typically do. We're giving it all to the EU. And having von der Ursula, or whatever the hell her name is, like running around doing whatever she does for fun, right? Like, they got to do something different. We got to do things different. The world's changing, folks. Like, it is. And I don't know. I don't know how much of this system is still really going to be around. I don't know how much money is ultimately going to matter in about 10 years. I really don't think it's going to. But I think what we're ultimately trying to do is get through this transition. Don't worry about the price of gold. It'll definitely come back up. But kind of my big point would be, this is a great time to buy some gold. Silver is still the best, hands down money win. Like, and it's easier for more people to get into. If you can get your hands on some silver, which you can do actually through my friends at Goldco, but if you can get your hands on some silver, it's undervalued a bunch. We know that. And two, it's very affordable, and it's also easier to like hand somebody one of these for, I don't know, like I always say, a few cans of Dinty Moore beef stew that they actually have stored, or some rations, or maybe some help on my car. I got an issue with my car, and I need some help, and here's some actual currency that you'll want, no matter what. The economy's good, you'd probably still take silver. Economy's bad, you'll definitely take silver. Lights go out, you'll definitely take silver. Everything happens, silver will be utilized. Gold too, but gold's just, one coin, you're out $3,000, $3,500. I hand you one coin of silver, I'm out, 35-ish, 33, 32, whatever the hell it is right now. So, again, something to consider. I highly recommend diversification. The stock market is teetering, it's crazy. Again, you want to keep stuff in there? Totally. It's up to you. I don't know. I'm expecting that if we're ever going to see how much corruption's actually occurred, there's a level of us having to understand how much they've won. Robbed from pension funds. We're going to find that out. That's going to be kind of a really horrible part. But how much of this overinflation in the stock market is due to things like pension funds, things like people like the Fed pumping money into the stock market. There's just a lot of things that happen. And I think sometimes these are even some of the things like your Nancy Pelosi's might know about is what stocks are the Fed going to buy? Boom. Nancy Pelosi goes in and gets into all that before the Fed spends its money, because the second the Fed buys the stocks, the price goes way up. And she sells right after, makes a ton of money, even after fees and everything else, right? The system is very, very weird. This is money. This backs currencies, and likely going to back our new currency. This is a smart investment. It's doing well. It's worth something. It's valuable. It could be melted down and turned into other things. It could be used for manufacturing. It is extraordinarily valuable. I'm not trying to be a dick about crypto. I don't like crypto personally that much. I got a little, but I don't like it. I don't like the idea of it. To me, it feels like that's heading towards a central bank digital currency. It's what it feels like to me. It's digital money. Digital money means they can turn it off easily. They can't do that with a physical thing. They can with a non-physical thing. As much as it's a good investment, as much as it's the wave of the future, many would say, I think it's a step towards that digital currency where they shut you down. If you want to invest in it, do it. It's not a bad idea. If you know what you're doing and paying attention, you could probably make some money. This is always valuable and can be handed to people and done stuff with no matter what. The lights go out, the power goes out, the economy shuts down. This will get you some bullets if you need. Crypto won't. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Diversify some of it. While it's as high and it's going to hopefully go up a little bit more for the next few days, this is the time to get the ball rolling. We have not fallen too far, but there's still a lot of concern about things that need to happen, things that are likely going to happen, and things that the world's still waiting on, right? There's a lot of uncertainty in the big picture. The stock market reacts day to day, actually hourly, throughout the day. You can see the bigger picture. Don't wait until the day to day starts showing the problem. Get that ball rolling. Let my good friends help you. They're extremely efficient. They're very good at this. They're the best customer service you're going to get out there. You're going to get a lot of cool freebies, up to 10% free silver for whatever face value you transfer over, up to 10% free silver. You get a free coin, half-ounce Ronald Reagan collector's coin, super awesome. You also get some other cool benefits, highest price buyback guarantee as well, and some really cool, like your gold and silver kit. Learn how you can actually protect your wealth with an IRA. It's precious metals, it's physical metals, all that. It is awesome. Ask all the questions you can. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get your just 4 data points, get the ball rolling, and it gives you 20 minutes to call. If you actually call within the 20 minutes, you're probably going to get the coin for free. Most likely a lot of other things start to happen. They tend to be a lot cooler. It just makes the whole process easier. Get your information, learn about it. That's what you're trying to do, and hopefully get a free coin out of the deal. It's a half-ounce Ronald Reagan silver coin. It's worth, $17. That's cool as hell, right? Who's offering you a $17 gift just to check out what I literally think I can save you money with? Save your wealth, I should say. It's a better way to look at it. Save your wealth. Spent years doing it. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of that system before they get out of you. Here is, so, I don't know. France is saying that this is just a napkin, right? What's interesting is this dude here, I'm not sure which country he's from, there's a straw on the table. Now, I'm going to be honest. I got, like I said, I've said before, I think I've said it, but I don't find it's anything crazy. I got a couple friends that they're like my best friends, really, and they love the cocaine. I haven't done it, never done it in my life, never done it, never tried it, probably because I know I like it. They do. They like it. I can always tell when they've done it. I watch them sometimes. I just think it's funny as hell. But the straw, usually they use a slightly bigger straw. I don't know. I don't know if they're just mucho gusto or what, but this guy's straw seemed kind of small. It seemed potentially like a stir stick, but I don't see any coffee anywhere, so whatever. It's hard to tell. But it looks like he has a straw. It looks like he has something that he grabs and tries to hide. If it was a Kleenex like they claim, now maybe it's a Kleenex with the stuff inside of it, maybe. But if it's a Kleenex like he claims, I don't know. I don't feel like body language-wise you would grab it in such a weird way. And this dude hides the straw in kind of a weird way. So, I don't know. You guys decide. Both of them hide it at the exact same moment. He tucks it under his hand and then says, what, me? No, I didn't, huh? And I don't know. They all seem like my buddies when they get back from their momentary thing. Whatever. I don't know. It could be anything, right? It could be anything. U.S. House budget bill seeks more than $1.5 billion to try to start to fill back up the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Now, one hopefully good thing, you guys better do this, or if there's a reason not to, we can buy it cheaper elsewhere. I don't care. Buy it here. If you spend that $1.5 billion here in American oil on American companies, that's just easy, right? Transportation costs are reduced. Like, I don't know, just to me makes sense. So hopefully that $1.5 billion is actually money that's going to kind of, well, get a bit of a multiplier here in the States. Argentina's top court finds 80 boxes of Nazi materials in its basement. I had heard, I don't know if I've mentioned it or not, I think I have, but there were some rumors that they were going to be releasing this. Milei in Argentina was going to be releasing this information that the Nazis gave them. I feel like that's starting to happen. And I bet we're going to find out some very interesting things. I think we're probably going to find out about Fauci at some point. I don't know. Someone sent me a thing with Mengele's pictures and then a picture of Fauci or something, but I didn't really understand what the hell you were. I don't know if you were trying to answer my question or cause more questions. I don't even know. She's like, here's what Mengele looks like. I'm like, I know what Mengele looks like. It's not what I was going for. I think Fauci's probably related to one of those dudes. That's what I'm betting. I'm betting he's related to him. He's a creepy, weird dude. Senate Democrats are worried about Fetterman. They're quote unquote discussing ways to help, which is code for we're trying to figure out how to get him the hell out. They're worried about him. He's not going along with what all the Democrats says. He's actually agreeing with us when we do something that he agrees with, which is often. And he's most likely going to not stay a Democrat. Here's a short little thing with him, which I thought was kind of interesting. But here's Fetterman kind of talking about, giving us an example, I should say, of what the Democrats friggin' hate about him.
For me, it's like, if it's a win for America, then I'll cheer for that. You know, just because it might have come from Trump doesn't mean I can't celebrate that. But I'm not exactly what that deal is because I haven't actually seen enough to actually comment on it right now. And I hope some good thing comes out from it. I found the time with a lot of the tariffs to be rather confusing and it's a lot of chaotic. So if there are some wins, then that's great.
You rang. Right? Not the best imitation, but whatever. It was supposed to be better. House Republican release a part of the budget bill which includes changes to Medicaid. Now, I wanted to cover this because this is getting spun out of proportion or misrepresented for sure. So the legislation from the House Energy and Commerce Committee, and we've got actually two different parts of this bill that we're going to discuss today. But they oversee the Medicaid part, the federal program that pays for medical services for low-income and disabled Americans. It does not include two provisions pushed by conservatives, a reduction in the minimum federal share to states and a per-beneficiary cap on federal Medicaid spending. So I think the two things that the Dems were going to try to tear us apart on kind of got removed. Committee Chairman Brett Guthrie, from Kentucky, a Republican, he argued in an op-ed for the Wall Street Journal on Sunday that the bill isn't intended to attack Medicaid. Undoubtedly, Democrats will use this as an opportunity to engage in fear-mongering and misrepresent our bill as an attack on Medicaid. In reality, it preserves and strengthens Medicaid for children, mothers, people with disabilities, and the elderly for whom the program was designed. The bill's provisions for work requirements and a new cost-sharing requirement for certain beneficiaries would force many Medicaid recipients to lose health insurance. The legislation would also prohibit gender-affirming care for minors from being funded by Medicaid, as well as end Medicaid reimbursements for organizations like Planned Parenthood. States would have to impose community engagement requirements on Medicaid beneficiaries from ages 19 to 64 who do not have dependents and are able-bodied, according to the bill. These people would have to either attend school or volunteer for 80 hours a month. Listen to that, all right? Now, again, that's only 20 hours a week, but still, you got to at least volunteer. If you don't want to work and you don't want to earn any money, all right, but we're going to put you to work anyway, 20 hours a week. And if you don't want to do that, then you don't get the freebies. That's huge. The Energy Committee was told to find $880 billion in savings for the budget bill that President Trump is hoping will pass. And why the bill did not include spending estimates, Guthrie told Republicans on a call that his committee portion would save more than $900 billion. It's a trillion. They needed to get to what? I think $2 trillion. That's a big chunk of money. Now, Howley is warning that GOP Medicaid cuts are morally wrong and politically suicidal. Again, I don't know what he's exactly talking about. Slashing Medicaid spending, just like, Howley, are you cool with giving it to illegal aliens, Josh? I mean, tell me yes, go ahead. And if you're going to say, well, no, I don't think we should give it to them, then okay, then do we really need to raise spending? Because you guys have been wasting all sorts of money on stuff that we shouldn't be spending it on. Now, maybe, again, he was talking about the two things they cut out. I'm not sure. I don't know. Josh Hawley's another one of those guys that he's establishment. I mean, I don't know if he's a rhino or not. I don't think he is. I think he's actually on our side of the team, if you will. But, yeah, he seems very, very, entrenched within the establishment to me. Just whatever. House tax riders' SALT deduction cap rejected by key lawmakers last week. So the House, this is actually pretty cool and pretty interesting, and hopefully it happens. Though, to the point that is made in this article, you've got to generally be making probably closer to the 100K plus range before this really comes into play. And what it really has to do with is your SALT deduction, which is your state and local tax. What you were allowed to do back in the day, until Trump changed it, by the way, back in the day, you were allowed to completely deduct all sales tax, all income tax, and there was one other kind of tax, might even be property tax, but you were allowed to deduct all of those taxes from your federal refund. Meaning, if I spent, $30,000 in taxes in California, and I made $100,000 last year, which would be kind of absurd probably, but whatever, we'll just keep easy numbers. My taxable income to the federal government would actually be $70,000 because $30,000 of that would be reduced and I would not have to pay taxes on that money. It's nice. Now, it used to be you could unlimited, I think, and it was probably taken advantage of by rich people, probably heavily taken advantage of by rich people. You buy a lot of things that have taxes. You can get cars. There's a lot of things you can do that, allows you to write off a lot of cool shit that most people don't ever get to even play with. Then Trump came in and he did some really cool stuff with the tax cuts that he did for us. And I think this was kind of a concession that he gave or was bestowed on him in a means of kind of trying to make make him out to be a bad guy in some way, shape, or form. And what they did is they said, you can only write off up to 10 grand of it. Well, the problem is the standard deduction is more than 10 grand. Where is it? I think it's like 12.5 or something like that. I'm not an accountant. I don't even pretend to play one. I understand accounting more than I ever care to admit to, but anyway, whatever the standard deduction is, like 15 grand or lower, something like that. If it's not like even above that, then you can't even use it, right? You would have to have like another, 5 grand and itemized write-offs to even be able to try to take advantage of the $10,000 limit they put on it. That limit still exists right now, and it has since Trump did this tax bill. Now, this is supposed to expire, and what they choose to keep and what they don't choose to keep is going to be a big question. But they're talking about at least tripling the SALT cap, the SALT deduction cap. So instead of only being able to deduct $10,000 of your total money spent, now they want to get it up to $30,000, which again is not unlimited like it once was. But it helps if you're making a little bit of money or if you actually have some itemized expenses. If you got more than the standard deduction. And for those that don't, sorry. It's just, it matters to a lot of people though. And here in California, New York, places like that where the general incomes are pretty high, these types of things matter. 3 things to know for, I don't need to pull that up. That's how I learned about SALT. I had to read. I didn't understand it very well. Republican lawmakers decry Oregon sanctuary policies after a cartel boss was arrested. They were trying to pass something within the actual House of Oregon. And I think it didn't get through the House, but it got through the Senate. Republican lawmakers swiftly introduced a bill to roll back the protections afforded by the state's first-in-the-nation sanctuary law, which garnered rare bipartisan support but failed to make it to the House floor. The Department of Justice said 16 people were arrested across 5 states in the bust, including 36-year-old Heriberto Salazar Amaya. He allegedly is the leader of a drug trafficking ring who is living in Salem. 6 of the arrested were in the United States illegally, U.S. Attorney General Pamela Bondi said. Well, Pamela Bondi, not even Pam Bondi, huh? So, the people in Oregon are a little pissed right now that they're allowing these people to just hide. So at Amaya's residence alone, they found 41 firearms as well as more than $2.8 million in cash, 50 grand in jewelry, which doesn't seem like very much, and 150 grand in vehicles, which sounds like, what, 2? I don't even know. But $2.8 million in cash, dude. Damn. That's some cash, baby. But 50 grand in jewelry when you got that much cash? At least he's smart and not trying to, maybe that's like 4 cars and they're being real smart, just running around in a bunch of Honda Civics or something stupid. Doubt it, but who knows. Big bust. Not good. Here's Governor Evers. I believe he's Wisconsin, right? Yeah. And he's, he uses the Lord's name in vain, which should piss off a few of you. It's not necessarily why I'm playing it, but the fact that this dude is literally trying to protect illegals is priceless, I would say.
Been to places in Wisconsin where there's huge numbers of undocumented workers, and you walk into the school, and the school is 90% the white number of white people, white kids in the school are, you count on one hand, and you go downtown, and every store is Spanish speaking. And it's working, God damn it. And you think about how important they are, undocumented people are to the state of Wisconsin and our economy. We can't breach that issue.
Yeah, obviously diversifying the state to such a point that English is not the common language spoken. Wisconsin, Mr. Wisconsinite, my geography serves me, you're reasonably far north compared to some of us southern bordering states. Now, granted, I'm California, we're really long. There's parts of us that are, north of many states, and where I live, I'm further south than most states. And we have a lot of people that speak Spanish, and I have, for my entire life, had some Spanish-speaking people, and those numbers have increased greatly over the years, but kind of more common in places like here versus Wisconsin. Yeah, it was the weirdest thing when I used to go visit up north. I had some family that lived up north, right? And I'd go up to the Seattle area. You know, any of you guys that live up in Washington State, there's a fast food chain called Taco Time. Taco Time is just, I don't know what it is. I love Taco Time. It is a bitchin' ass restaurant. It's a crap restaurant. It's a fast food restaurant. But like, I have Taco Bell here. We don't have Taco Time here. Only place I can ever find Taco Time's up there. And I don't know, they got like tater tots and, oh no, who's this? Super glad I answered that. Anyway, they got those just tater tots. They're really good. Anyway, we did get off the point, but it's just, it was always like white dudes working there. This used to trip me out because I wasn't used to, I mean, you'd see white people working in fast food restaurants. One of my best friends going to high school ended up owning 4 McDonald's. Actually went into, I take that back. He went back into, what's the one everyone loves here? The burgers that everybody loves, In-N-Out. And he ended up owning like 4 of those. Dude became very, very wealthy. And he started at McDonald's. He was the first guy to buy a car because he had a job. He was like, but again, you know, it was just different back then. But yeah, it was never like, it was just always white people working in fast food restaurants. And so again, when people say it's, oh, jobs Americans won't do, that's a bunch of horse shit. It really is, frankly. Dan Bongino put this out. Now, we got a lot of arrests and stuff going on, a lot happening, so this is kind of important to call out. He's long-winded, though. Man, this guy's got to make up for not having a podcast anymore. And I'm not trying to be a dick, Dan. You got a cool first name. What am I going to say? And a giant head. But nonetheless, you're a good man. I'd like to update you on some things that I think are going well and some things that I think we can and will do better. The workforce has been working overtime on task force operations to remove dangerous illegal aliens from the country. The work continues. The message is clear. If you came here illegally to prey on our citizens, your days here are numbered. These removal and incarceration operations will dramatically change the crime landscape in this country when combined with the administration's laser focus on sealing the border shut. Expect these operations to ramp up, not slow down. Crimes against children are a priority for the workforce. Operation Restoring Justice, where we lock up child predators and 764 subjects in every part of the country, is just the beginning. We are going to take your freedom if you take away a child's innocence. Think twice if you've targeted children, because you're next. We're clearing information to Congress and the public as quickly as possible. In just a couple of months since we've been sworn in, we've responded to requests for information on the attack on Rep. Scalise and members of Congress, the Nashville attack, Crossfire Hurricane, the COVID cover-up, and more. We are working with the DOJ on the Epstein case, and, as the AG stated, there are voluminous amounts of downloaded child sexual abuse materials that we are dealing with. There are also victim statements that are entitled to specific protections. We need to do this correctly, but I do understand the public's desire to get the information out there. We're doing our best in the current budgetary environment to prioritize the mission, act as good fiscal stewards, find waste and inefficiencies, and enact reforms while moving the FBI forward. It hasn't been easy, but we'll get it done. We've been weekly meeting where we meet with our CFO and our new CIO and CTO teams, and we go through budget items line by line. It's your money, and it's your FBI. We won't forget that. I have no desire to sugarcoat this one. It's been difficult in this new role to stay relatively quiet while certain elements of the media continue to entirely fabricate stories about what we are doing at the FBI. But that's part of the job as a public servant. I don't work for myself anymore. I work for the public. And while I can't address all of the nonsense in this one post, I will address the repeated attacks on Director Patel. The director's office is attached to mine. I am in most of the briefings he is in. He spends anywhere between 10 to 12 hours in the office attending meetings with everyone from foreign heads of law enforcement to our counter-terror teams and more. Any assertion otherwise is a verifiable lie designed to stop our reforms and fracture your trust. I will die on this hill. You are being clearly lied to by people with an agenda, and it's not your agenda. Thanks for allowing me to communicate with you in this channel. Other things are happening as well, and they will become evident in the coming weeks and months. Keep watching us and holding us accountable. God bless America and all those who defend her. Some beautiful stuff. We have a damning photo, by the way, of a Mexican, I think it's the mayor, is what she is. She's the governor, of Marina del Pilar Avila, is a California Baja state, I'm assuming, if she's governor. But she was hugging Emmanuel El Botas Serrano while she was campaigning for mayor in the border town of Mexicali back in 2019. Well, this dude El Botas, I guess, is he's a bad boy. He's like one of the head dudes at the Sinaloa cartel, and she's hugging him. So Trump said, "Yeah, no, you guys can't. You can't come into this country. No, sorry. We deny your decision." The governor revoked her visa, which is good. U.S. Attorney Haba. She says, my office is undertaking a thorough investigation in coordination with our federal agency partners of what transpired on Friday at Delaney Hall. As is true of every investigation this office handles, all available evidence will be thoroughly reviewed prior to making a determination on how to proceed. I do not take these matters lightly. I don't remember which one Delaney Hall was, frankly. Is that where that wasn't this thing, right? That's not Delaney. So yeah, I kind of not sure what Delaney Hall is. Whatever. Something happened over there. You guys may be aware of it. I don't know. Should we look it up? Look it up real quick. Let me see if I can spell it right. Maybe. Delaney Hall, New Jersey ice facility. Warning for the country. What to know about Newark's mayor was. Oh, so he was arrested. Okay, it was that thing. All right, cool. I was wondering. This is apparently Delaney Hall. Ice Detention Center. This is where Mayor Ras Baraka got arrested. I guess now they're out there protesting, some pastors of some kind. What's super funny about this is I don't think they're breaking the law because they're not on the wrong side. The other guys actually snuck in. They literally went in the facility. You're not allowed to do that. They're staying outside the facility, apparently trying to block the entrance or something, which is illegal nonetheless, especially if they say, hey, you got to move. The car's got to come in and out. And they're like, no, we're not moving. And be like, all right, I'll arrest you then. That's how that works. So I doubt that'll be the case. But it is funny that they're choosing pastors, first off. I'm assuming is pastor's a good term, even though they've got I don't know what they call the collar. We always called it the collar. Catholics, I always thought, were the ones that typically did this. But I think the Episcopalians do as well, and they can be married, and I assume they allow females. So I don't know. I'm very confused. She's obviously not a Catholic priest. That I know. That hasn't changed yet. Maybe it will, maybe it doesn't. So, again, weird. Priests. What, are we going to arrest priests now? Is that, because our side of the fence, that would look bad. This just totally, to me, just is very, very orchestrated. Very manufactured. I don't know if anyone got arrested yet. We'll give them time. The day is young. MyPillow.com/OTF. First off, they got a couple really cool things going on. $100 in free digital gifts if you order $100 or more. They've also got a super good deal on the Giza bed sheets. It's the best sheet they got. They ended up making too many of them because of a box store order that failed on them. It's like happened a couple times. It's almost like ordering a pizza to someone's house and, it's not your house. It's kind of mean. Whatever the case is, it works out great for us, no matter what size. He even went into all these. I didn't even know they had all these crazy. There's like 3 different kings Mike Lindell listed off when he was on my show last Wednesday, right? I was like, holy crap, I didn't even know. I knew of a California king, and I knew just a regular king. And they're like, there's a 3rd king in there. There's some weather weird king. I don't remember what he even was. And then there's queens. Whatever the case is. Whatever the case. Whatever the case is. $50, $49.98. It's insane. Check it out. Great products. The best towel you're ever going to use. I'm just giving some of the stuff I love. There's a commercial that I got to play that Mike does because Mike does it really, really well. He's got his My Cross on there. We've got dog beds. If you love your pet, you definitely should have a My Pillow dog bed. I mean, if you love your pet, I'm just saying. If you don't, that's cool. Totally. I get it, man. Don't waste money on a bed for them. But if you love them and you get them this bed, you understand when they sit on it, they're going to be like, this is rad. They're going to say it too in their own little way. You'll see it. You'll see it happen. And the best pillow you've ever seen, $17.98. Best pillow you've ever used. This pillow is epic. I've been through many, many My Pillow pillows. I don't know how you say that pluralized, right? It's like a rhombus and an octopi, and it's a pilli. I don't know what it is. Pillows. It should be pillow and pilli. Whatever the hell. Doesn't matter. It's the best pillow you'll ever use. Great stuff. Go to mypillow.com/OTF. That's mypillow.com/OTF. Now, let's do a little short one with Mike Lindell. I love when they send me these. This is great.
To celebrate our newest launch, Rev 7, I'm bringing you an amazing introductory offer, plus an exclusive overstock sale that you're not going to want to miss. Rev 7 is our premium energy drink that tastes great and gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. That's because there's no sugar and no caffeine. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7 that for a limited time you can try our 3-pack absolutely free. Or check out our Percale bed sheets. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes only $29.88, even the queens and kings. Inventory is extremely limited, so order now.
I love it. By the way, one of my favorite things about Mike Lindell, and he's like me. I'm like him. I don't know how you want to say it. He's, it is what it is. But I love the fact that he is exactly who he is. Like, whenever you see him on camera, that's him. That's how he is. Like, and if you've worked with him, I think he's got an intense kind of side or an expectation of hard work, like Musk and a lot of these guys. But he is just an intense dude. He is, and when he gets talking about My Pillow, passion comes out. It's kind of, it's not my company, so I can't say I love it as much as him, but it's a weird thing about this product is there is a level of love. I love the freaking pillow. I love it. This is what won me over. I'm going to say it, this stupid pillow. It's an awesome pillow. It's not smart though, that's for sure. It's freaking awesome how it works. It's just something about it. I don't know what it is. So, yeah, you get a little passion in your heart when you start talking about this. MyPillow.com/OTF. Yep, get the best night of sleep you've ever had. Latest legal challenge. The Department of Homeland Security has subpoenaed California's cash assistance program for immigrants. It is demanding a slew of records from Los Angeles County to determine if individuals in the United States illegally received payments stemming from the Social Security Administration dating back to 2021. Oh, I hope they keep these records from them, because that will be illegal. So there's an investigation. Pending the investigation, let's see. Applicant's name. Yeah, they got some info they're planning on getting. So, yeah, if they figure out that California's been giving away federal money, oh, California, we're in trouble. Not really us, just Newsom and politicians. LA specifically is a mess. I can't wait till San Francisco gets more poo-poo on them. Whistleblowers say human trafficking hotline operator failed to report tips to law enforcement. I guess Senator Chuck Grassley, one of the good senators, by the way, is scrutinizing the multi-million-dollar grant for this Polaris project. They were running a hotline, and then come to find out all the child trafficking whistleblowers weren't being shared. Got to almost wonder why. Whatever the case is, they're investigating. We got President Trump vowing to end the secrecy of foreign and CCP funding on campus after Biden turned a blind eye. He's going to actually look into colleges and whether or not they're getting CCP money. And the president ordered Education Secretary Linda McMahon. It's hard for me. And Attorney General Pam Bondi, or Pamela Bondi, which is very strange, to enforce the federal laws surrounding the disclosure of foreign funding on U.S. campuses after Biden's Education Secretary, Miguel Cardona, he deprioritized the issue over the previous 4 years. So we're putting a stop to a lot of things. So again, everyone's like, when's it going to happen? It is happening. You just maybe have a specific thing, like Epstein list, for example. A specific thing on your bucket that needs to be done now. It needs to be priority number one. When there's all these other things that are also happening. And I think your priority's coming. I do. But it'll happen when it happens. That's for sure. And we're never going to let it go. And the way things have been going, it will be revealed when the time is right. Timing has always been key. You got to all admit that. Timing has always mattered. So we gotta live with that a little bit. Biden administration gave protected status to Afghans despite terrorism flags. They like, oh, it's a terrorist? Sure. All right, cool. No, you can still come in. Just be nice to people. Whatever. Biden administration, more good stuff there. U.S. offers $15 million reward for a team accused of smuggling drone tech to Iran. Very specific Chinese nationals, very specific individuals. I wouldn't be able to say any of their names, but there they are in case you want to try to pronounce them yourselves. Lots of fun there. That's like a game show unto itself. And they're not like Young, Liu, Zhong. I don't know. Last name's Hua. I can do that one. Yuwa, and Youngskin. I don't know. Baoxia. Like, that's way too many weird letters next to each other. I would almost say that's British, right? But they'd have a GH in there or some shit. Probably Oughxia is how the Brits would spell that word. Just trying to offend everybody equally right now. That's all. I haven't figured out any reason to make fun of the French yet. But if it pops into my head, it's gonna pop out. Except for you, Juju. No Jew. No. You're one of the French people I like. Silicon Valley weather startup is going to soon begin replacing National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration weather balloons with, get this, AI-powered alternatives. A cost-cutting measure. We cut costs for all these stupid balloons, number of places that we weren't sending them. Everyone's like, oh my God, we'll never know what's going to happen with the weather. I couldn't possibly just stick my fucking head outside and take a look. Granted, it only gets you so far. I understand. They found a cheaper alternative, this bunch of smart people. So we'll take it over. We'll do it. Thanks. Stanford, I think, is paying for it. Stanford graduate, anyway. I just thought it was funny. So we saved a bunch of money and then found a way to do something cheaper. That's what's called innovation. That's what the government used to stifle. This is just a good example of a larger problem. And it kind of, I don't know. I hadn't thought. I thought of it, but I haven't realized, oh my God, this probably affects a lot of places. There are a number of cities. And there's just one example they're giving here. It's Torrance County. Sorry, it's a county in New Mexico. It is literally convinced its financial survival depends on, it says locking up immigrants, but what it has to do with is the jail. It's got a jail, a detention facility. They make a bunch of money on that. Bunch of money. And so you get rid of all the illegals, and now we got less criminals. Oh my God, our city's going to shut down. What has to kind of happen with a lot of the changes that we're going through, and this is why, the big question is why I talk about DRS like gold, but the big question is how this transition is managed. And so far, what Trump has been freaking awesome at is he kicks the hornet's nest and runs, and then comes back with the beef suit or whatever. He comes back and he's able to fix it so it's all groovy now. And then he kicks the nest again, and he comes back and he makes things better. And if they can continue to shift, we're going to take away your federal funding for this thing, but really you should start funding this or stop spending money on this, and you'll save money. Right? There's this transition. And those that resist the transition, it's going to be harsher than those that don't. Federal government similar, stock market similar. There are a lot of transitions that we have to go through. This is just a great example of another kind. Like, this whole county will likely go under if they don't change stuff and realize what's happening. Or make a deal with the federal government and say, hey, we'll take some of your federal prisoners maybe while, the next 2 years, 3 years that we work on deporting people. Maybe this becomes one of the facilities that we can load up, right? Maybe there's now a stimulus for some of these counties to accept what Trump's doing. Again, transition. It can't happen that fast. It just can't. This is way too big a moving machine. And then when you talk about Epstein, holy crap. Again, it's going to come out. And it's going to break the ground open. If it came out right now, stock market would crash. Folks, it just would. Pensions would be destroyed. A whole lot of bad things would probably happen. And if it gets bad enough, then people literally go out on the streets and start committing crime. So there's this weird dichotomy. There's weird balance between chaos and order. I don't know. It's just something I thought was worth talking about. Something to think about, that's for sure. Gavin Newsom, he's pushing California cities to ban homeless encampments. Again, if you hadn't ruined this state so much, Gavin, probably wouldn't be nearly as many homeless people as there are. We certainly have a huge problem with mentally unwell people that are on the streets, which is very sad. We don't deal with that at all, Newsom. What are you doing about that? Where's your state money? Again, we could deal with homelessness if we as a society really wanted to, but we've been bleeding money off into so many other things for so long that most of us are like, I don't want to pay more taxes. No, this is ridiculous. And, they just try to make you feel guilty about it because everyone likes to virtue signal. No one wants to pay more taxes. Get out of here. So apparently in Colorado, if you don't affirm your kid, like if your kid wants to be transgender and starts saying you've got to call me these certain pronouns, and then if your parents, like the parents of this child, are getting in a divorce and custody's at stake, if you're the parent that refuses to properly gender them, then the judge will take the child away from you and give it to the other spouse or the other individual. Just again, Colorado, a mess. Chinese nationals arrested, over $8 million of cash. This is kind of a weird story. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but Philippines just had their election, and a few people, it wasn't many, it was like 6 of them, I guess they said, right? Isn't that what something? Chinese nationals arrested? Doesn't even say how many exactly. Somewhere it does, but it doesn't matter. They had basically $7.97 million US. It was 441 million pesos, which is a butt ton of money there. And they had all that money, and there was like literally within a short period of time for an election, which is against the law. That's typically, I think, how they're buying off stuff. And when they were asked about it, they said, oh, no, we won all this gambling. And then they're like, all right, can you have any proof whatsoever that that you were actually gambling or at a casino someplace? And they're like, no, except in some other language, probably. So, yeah, they got busted, and they were, who knows what they were there to do. Who knows what they were there to do. And hopefully they got a good election. I don't know. I've heard so many crazy stories. Have no idea. I don't even know who the good people are over there. My girlfriend doesn't know because she doesn't ask crazy questions, and I don't think her family is like conspiracy-oriented enough, frankly. So I don't know. I don't have any good answers. Germany is paying asylum seekers the most money, by the way. So Germany's just a mess. We got a few stories here to share about how Germany is literally, I don't know, part of me is almost wondering, and this is no offense to Germans. I actually don't dislike German people at all. I dislike Nazis. I mean, I would say if there's a group of people that I would want to paint with a broader brush anyways, it would be the Nazis probably. But not Germans. We've got a general love for them. I had a friend that was Austrian, which is not the same thing, but close, similar. And then I had a German soccer team. They were in the area when I was younger, and they stayed at some of our houses. So I had a German soccer player guy stay at my house, and that was pretty cool. Like learned how to cuss, learned the F word and how to say shit and stuff like that. Right? It's pretty cool. So any good kid learn how to cuss in another language. It's powerful skills. But yeah. So the EU is basically, I guess these asylum seekers come to any number of countries in Europe, and they're like, we want to be asylum. And they're like, all right, cool, we'll take you to Germany. Germany's going to pay the most money. And they're like, really? And they're like, oh, yeah, they give so much money to asylum seekers. And they're like, cool, I want to go to Germany. And they're like, all right. And they laugh the whole damn way. Germany, you're an idiot. I don't know if, like I said, if it's karma for the first 2 world wars, maybe. Germany's on the brink of national suicide. This dude has pretty good, Victor Davis Hansen, pretty good set of stuff. I'm not going to play it. It's a little long, but yeah, they're screwed. Every decision they're making right now, with electricity even too, they're just, they're screwed. And if they don't figure it out quickly, they're toast. In fact, this is kind of funny too. I don't know how Germans feel about this, but the U.S. green lights long-range missile transfer to Ukraine. Here's the funny part. We approved American weapons deliveries from German stockpiles. Our weapons hanging out in Germany, maybe they're at American bases or something, whatever, but they were there in Germany, making Germany feel safe again. And, we're like, no, we'll send those over to Ukraine. That's totally cool. Germany, you don't need them. They're just going to walk on through you. It won't even matter. So let's not leave any of our weapons lying around. God forbid they use them against us. Kind of interesting. British Prime Minister, busy doing some crazy stuff, not just doing cocaine all the time. No, he's actually bringing in some tougher policies to reduce UK immigration. It's weird is that he makes these strong statements, which I don't know. Part of me is like, please, just talk. It needs to happen. And I think this is popular. So I don't know, maybe a bunch of Britons are going to be like, yay, woohoo. But certainly that might be the extent of it. But what is very interesting is a fire broke out in his £2 million London home. He hasn't been there for a while. He's been living in I guess, London proper, over by where the government building is, or whatever, Downing Street, I guess they call it. Yeah, it's over here. So he's living over in some apartment there, but this was his home. Somehow a fire broke out in his home right after he comes out against immigration. Remember when New York Mayor Eric Adams started talking about immigration? You guys remember how that played out? Remember that one time? I want to say it was Macron might have even have said something at one point, and I feel like he got beat up pretty badly in a few different weird ways. Just funny. You're not supposed to fight that immigration thing. This immigration thing is the thing that's going to destroy the country. And so a lot of the leaders of these countries that are allowing it to happen are actually starting to get hate from their own constituents. And I think a lot of these guys are probably starting to get second guesses. They're like, oh man, I'm selling out my country. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it finally really hits them, that they are pretty bad, right? Pretty bad. I feel like there was a French, I don't know, there's a French general or something, and I'm drawing a blank on his name, that is like considered the, right, isn't he like the cowardice general? Am I forgetting that history somehow wrong? Whatever the case is. Remember something stupid. UK Inspector Andy Cook is pushing for stronger powers to curb viral misinformation after the Southport riots. Again, they're just trying so hard to take away your abilities to talk about stuff. There's many people that were very, very unhappy with how these Southport riots happened. I don't have a lot of the information on what they were. First off, it's just a country that, it's like you all got your own problems. I would suggest that you guys start your own channels and friggin' talk about it. But yeah, they want to silence you guys more because, God forbid, you talk about what's going on, this misinformation and malinformation and disinformation and blah, 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 blah. Just silence. Multiple lines on the London Underground network were suspended or disrupted Monday because of power outage, the British Capital's Transport Authority said. Well done, England. Yeah, let's get some more of those renewable energy sources, huh? We're doing it too. I'm just poking the bear is all. I'm trying to piss you off enough for you guys to friggin' finally do something about it. Ukraine accuses Hungary over alleged spy ring. First off, Ukraine's accusing him. Ukraine is accusing Hungary, Viktor Orban, somebody that's keeping Ukraine from being able to get into the EU. And now all of a sudden, Ukraine's accusing Hungary of spying. Ukraine is, no offense, Ukrainian people are good people. Ukraine's government is horrible. Ukraine it's definitely not who we should be supporting. Unquestionably. They are the criminal network. They are the criminal. Not the Ukrainians, but the Ukrainian government. There's some heavy deep state there. U.S. priority on Russia. Ukraine war is reaching immediate ceasefire, says Rubio. It looks like it's probably, they're having their talk in Turkey on Thursday. And looking like we're probably going to finally get our ceasefire and more. Trump says he could go to Turkey to join Russia and Ukraine. He says he's got a lot going on, doesn't really have any major plans for Thursday. It sounds like he's like, yeah, I might just pop on over to Turkey. And, Turkey is pretty close to Saudi Arabia. It's not like it's far away. And I believe that's where he's going to be. Also talking about the Syria stuff, the Israel stuff. United Arab Emirates, the Qatar. A lot of people are like, the Qatar, like they came out publicly and they're like, look, we didn't say we were giving him a plane. Like, he's not going to get it now. Like, they're acting like, yeah, we got to give, whatever. We got to put some spy stuff on it first. I don't know, whatever the hell they're just trying to make it sound like it's not, he's not getting his plane this week. Relax, people. Whatever the case is. So Trump is, he's been talking about it because I think he's pissed off at Boeing, trying to embarrass Boeing, frankly. I want to remind you guys, Pet Club, just a great product. I keep forgetting to talk about these guys, but they're really good. You got four-legged creatures. There's something cool about this mushroom. It's called Coriolus versicolor. Coriolus versicolor majorly enhances the immune system and the healing system within pets, and humans for that matter. It has got an amazing effect. We've got all sorts of different studies on the research tab that show pets that have had cancers, that have had issues with their coats, that have had skin problems, that have had internal issues of different kinds. And just getting them on any number of these products, getting this mushroom inside of them, has helped. Now, you can't OD on the mushroom per se, but you can feed an animal too much and make them fat. So there's a lot of ways you can kind of go about it. If, we'll start with dogs just to make it easy. If you're just trying to do something simple and they don't need a lot, maybe they're younger, but you want to start getting this mushroom in them because it's going to help them stay alive longer. Just a cookie. One cookie, it's a treat, one treat a day. Get that mushroom in them, There's a couple different ways, but they're called mush puppies. For horses, they're called mush ponies. Cats, they get mojos. Now, dogs like mojos, too. It's essentially a liver treat that's got the Coriolus versicolor with it. So cats, if you got cats and dogs at your house, mojo's probably the better choice. Again, only $18. Easy way to get in and get this in your animal on a regular basis. Now, if you've got an animal that's got some more severity to it, then I would actually recommend considering, one, the special sauce, depending on their calorie level, but it's a little extra stuff you can add on top of whatever you're already doing food-wise with them, right? You can kind of mix it in. Maybe try to mix it up, get a little gravy-ish kind of thing going on. But they've also got foods. They got a freeze-dried food, which, by the way, becomes it's 5 pounds of food, but it only weighs a pound. So you mix it with a little bit of moisture, and it expands 5 times. So it's small packaging, small weight, a lot of food. And it's very good, and it's got the Coriolus versicolor in it. And they've also got a couple of other regular types of dry food, a chicken brown rice versus a chicken with sweet potato. Also got some canned food. I think it's turkey, right? So good stuff. They got better sticks, better choices, right? When they chew on it, like a dog doesn't care where the stick came from. But when they chew on an antler, they actually get that mineral in their mouth. They get that calcium. It's really good for them. And so, again, they got better toys because a lot of the toys are made in China. They got like lead on them and stuff. That's not good for your animals. Mutt mints, if they got breath problems. Chill doggies, you want something in the refrigerator. Some of the dogs really like that kind of stuff, especially when maybe it's hot outside. Maybe they see you grabbing something, and if you go into the fridge and grab something for them too, then look at that. They're like, because they just love feeling like they're doing the same thing you're doing, right? They love it. Dogs are just like stoked when they feel like they're in the same world that you are. It's pretty cool. Again, cats, same kind of stuff. They got Nipster with cat with the the little toy. It doesn't have chemicals on it either. I got the Mojos, special sauce. I got food. They got the whole 9 yards. And again, just powerful products that will make your animals healthier. Horses, they've got a couple things you can get, the mush ponies. And again, the humans, we've got a whole bunch of pills. They're a great way to get this inside ourselves. And it's a very powerful product that helps, again, with your immune system and just keeping it strong and keeping yourself healthy. And even kind of, I had Baby Trump on, and he talked about how he had a throat tumor. And he took a whole bunch of this stuff, like 5 times the amount you should normally take, which they say for every 50 pounds you weigh, you take 1 pill, right, a day. So he was taking like 5 times that, basically. And it went away. I mean, I had him on my show way back when, and he was talking about it. Again, powerful products. They seem to make a huge difference. This mushroom Coriolus versicolor, it helps. It helps majorly. Go to that's not the right company. Let's go to, what are these guys? These are... There it is, danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. Once again, because I had the wrong thing up for so long, danradiostyle.petclub247.com. Basically. A Syrian leader is offering to build Trump Tower in Damascus. Yeah, I'm wondering how Laura Loomer's going to feel about that. I even think that one's kind of like maybe that's just going to get spun horribly. They're making deals like that. If the Syrian leader wants to offer Trump's Eric, the Trump organization, something like that, cool. But to offer it to Donald Trump, the president, not okay, right? He kind of can't take it. So I almost wonder if that's the point of this. I kind of think it is. I mean, maybe he's just trying to be nice. That's entirely possible. But I don't think so. I think he understands how this will play out. It will look like favoritism's happening to Trump's businesses. That'll get Trump impeached in some weird way, or at least they'll try. Iranian dissident group reveals secret rainbow nuclear site built to boost missile research. Talking about how they're making their nuclear stuff more hydrogen bomb-esque, which is a significantly larger boom than a regular nuclear weapon. So there's talk about exactly where this base is. We're hearing stories about Netanyahu and Trump and all this stuff, right? So a lot of crazy talks happening, and this to me feels very much like Israel's behind it, and they're trying to build up the fear so we attack them. They desperately want us to attack Iran. Iranians' president's even controlled by the deep state. They want us to attack because that will likely lead to nuclear weapons being used. They're hoping. Desperately hoping. Now, again, we might have some technology that allows us to do the strike in such a way that maybe it's cleaner than that. I hope, I pray, I believe as well, but I don't know. Trump doesn't want Netanyahu to spoil his Gulf visit as frustrations boil. Again, we're hearing a lot of weird stuff coming out right now. Right? So Trump's apparently frustrated with him. Maybe he's not. Ambassador Huckabee's like, Israeli, this Jewish newspaper, whatever it was, they didn't get it right. Said U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee said in several interviews aired on Israeli television on Saturday that despite reports that the relationship between U.S. President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has soured, the bond between the U.S. leader and the Jewish state is as strong as it has ever been. Asked about Trump's decision to skip Israel in his upcoming visit in the Middle East, which will include stops in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates, Huckabee said that it was not an indication of deteriorating relationship between Washington and Jerusalem. He said, quote, I would just say to people, relax, calm down. Donald Trump loves you. There's no doubt about that. He's got your back. He is the same Donald Trump that for 4 years as president did more for Israel than any other American president. So there might be a small push back and attempt to stop the overextension of the war, which it does seem that Israel is kind of pushing this pretty far, running into other countries all over the place. So White House's Steve Witkoff dismisses reports of Trump's Netanyahu rift. This is actually pretty good. Check this out.
Okay, so now moving to Israel and Gaza, where do we stand with regard to a long-term? I mean, I watched your interview with Tucker Carlson. You were talking about how it's going to be a 15 to 20-year project to truly rebuild Gaza. Mm-hmm. Talk to us a little bit about where do we stand in terms of the situation there at this point.
Well, I mean, there are some aspects of it that are disappointing to me. Mm-hmm. I wish we could have gotten the last group of hostages out. We may still get them out. I think that it's a tense negotiation. We're in talks every single day. We're talking to the Israelis, we're talking to the Qataris, the Egyptians, the Emiratis. Everybody is focused, particularly as the president's trip is coming up, to get a better result, a peaceful result. And we're hoping that we can do that without the Israelis having to go in. There's some talk about that. I hope it doesn't have to happen. We have a deal on the table that Hamas could have taken 6 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. I've discussed this with the Israelis at length and the other stakeholders in this process, the other countries. Hamas should say yes to it. It is a path to a peaceful dialogue and maybe even a peaceful, long-term, durable solution to this. But Hamas is going to have to demilitarize, and they're going to have to quickly get to the terms that we've set forth, and we hope that they do.
Can you tell us what is holding up Hamas from agreeing to this deal? Why are they not agreeing to it? Why didn't they agree to it 6 weeks ago? What are they doing now to stand in the way of a deal?
I wish, as a sensible person, that I could explain their intransigence. I wish I could, but I can't. And remember, I'm not talking to them directly, so there's some dilution because we're talking indirectly through people, and indirectly is not necessarily the best way to negotiate, but in this particular circumstance, talking to a terrorist group, I might do it if the president allowed me to do it, but it doesn't feel to me like it's something that we belong doing right now. They need. I have stated this publicly. They need to show us a sign that they're prepared to act in a positive and proactive way that is better for the people of Gaza and that leads to a long-term durable peace. And if they do that, I think they'll get a good positive response from this country. And if they don't, they won't.
On the other side of the equation here, we've seen some stories. I believe there was one just this the last day or so from Israeli state media, or not Israeli state media, an Israeli Hebrew language newspaper that was saying that President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu have gotten icy with their relationship. I've talked to both of them. I'll be honest with you. I don't know where that's coming from, but I remember when Prime Minister Netanyahu was here for the first visit of a foreign leader to the White House here. That was a very warm. I talked to the Prime Minister afterwards. He said it was the warmest he's ever been received in Washington. He's been around for a long time. What say you in response to that stuff? Are those reports to be believed? Are President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu on the same page here?
Look, I tell you, Matt, first of all, me and you, sounds like we have a very similar thought process, that half these reports we discount. So
sure,
maybe we should discount more than half the reports.
Maybe most of them, right?
I think this report is going to be deadly accurate right here. But Prime Minister Netanyahu and the Israeli people are a staunch ally of the United States, and it goes back the other way. I've been at multiple meetings with the president and the Prime Minister. They're friendly. They're good friends, in fact. That doesn't mean that they agree on absolutely everything, and I think that's the tendency, right? You get a newspaper person who hears that they have a small disagreement about something that normal human beings like me and you would pay no attention to. But that particular newspaper reporter then conflates that into some large article about some massive issues that they have. It's preposterous. Israel is a great partner for the United States, strategically, economically. We think very much alike. We have very similar objectives. They don't want to see a weaponized nuclear state in the state of Iran. And so I don't think there's much daylight between how they think and how we think from a foreign policy perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, sorry. Someone came to the door even. Having a tough time recording today. Israel issues a warning over Palestine's recognition. There's maybe some concern that Trump's actually going to do this. There's been a discussion that he's not going to. He might. And Israel's basically now saying, look, any such unilateral moves would undermine the prospects for peace process and would compel the Jewish state to take measures in response. So if the United States, for example, were to do this, what would Israel do? I don't know. This is very, again, stock market. Like, there's a lot of things. Save Israel for last. I don't know. So that seems like it's starting to kind of warm up. Iran rejects unacceptable U.S. nuclear demand. They're like, no, not only are we going to keep doing nuclear, peaceful nuclear stuff, but I think they said, let's see, they're serious in their renewed engagement. Where is it? There it is, down here, I think. He says it's unacceptable, while stressing that Iran will continue to pursue these peaceful activities in a powerful manner. Wow. I'm sure a lot of that is a translation thing, but still, really strong language, right? We're going to do peaceful stuff powerfully? What? Isn't that like a Dodge Ram? Isn't that, right? Like Central Intelligence Agency? What do they call it? Oxymoron? Isn't that what that is? Kind of? Not sure. California Democrat retards are trying to pass a bill that would ban Glock handguns. Thank God I'm a SIG fan myself, but apparently there's this cheap little plastic piece you can affix to the rear of the firearm and cause it to fire like an auto pistol. So you just hold the trigger down, I guess, and it just blah, 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 and you just blow through your 10 bullets, because that's all we're allowed here in the state. You blow through those 10 bullets in probably 2 seconds, 3 seconds, whatever it is. So they want to ban the Glock. There's a number of firearms that can be reasonably easily modified. And this is just a stupid reason for, I think, California to try to ban a very popular firearm, by the way. All said, they've already gotten it to the point, by the way, this was one thing that bummed me out. I ended up buying a Gen 5 Glock. And when it got here, the dude's like, are you cop? And I'm like, no. And he's like, you can't have a Gen 5. And I'm like, ah. And that was back when Biden just got in office, and so everybody was trying to get a gun because they knew you weren't going to be able to get one. Ended up with a little, M&P 2.0 instead, but I had to send it back, and I got very lucky in how it all played out, but it was a mess. Yeah, Gen 5, I was stoked. I'm like, I want to get a sweet 9. This would be great. Nope. Had to send it back. Grubhub says its data breach impacted unknown number of customers and drivers. Yeah, they got hacked. They got some numbers. It sounds like what happened is they had a third-party group that they were allowing to help them. They gave them way too good access to their back end, and it sounds like somebody that. What it sounds like to me is someone was trying to build some stuff. They were doing some development, and they knew. They call it APIs. It's a gateway where you can pull data back, and you set these APIs up. This API was probably not sent or not set up to control what areas they could look at, or gave them a lot of information, and they figured it out and were able to pull down the information. And I think the company that was trying to do servicing for them was like, this is good information. It'll help us do a better job servicing. It made sense to me, but they were pulling a bunch of information that they didn't have a contract to have and really shouldn't have been looking at, and yet did. So they didn't get social security numbers and stuff like that, but they got names, email addresses, phone numbers. Enough to be annoying, that's for sure. Teenage with mental health disorders apparently spend an extra hour on social media. That should just give me an idea of how that works. Social media, for the most part, especially with younger kids, will mess up your self-worth so badly. It's horrible. So horrible. So yeah, especially teenage girls, I think, are probably most at risk. But I think boys too. I mean, I definitely think. But anyway. Yeah, it's a very bad situation. Google is going to have to pay $1.375 billion to Texas in a data privacy settlement. Holy crap. Quite a bit of money. It's kind of weird how we've got states now suing Meta and Google and Apple and weird stuff. So, again, it feels weird. In Texas, I don't know, one of the more rich states. So it's probably them trying to shut them down. They were abusing the trust. I think they were tracking people's movements. When you'd upload your videos onto their platform, their back-end platform, their cloud or whatever, they would use it for facial recognition. They were just doing all sorts of really fudged up stuff, man. Just really not cool. Abuse without asking for permission. So, yeah. They got sued. Probably worth it. Maybe it's because Paxton's the one that's actually able to, got some cojones or some intestinal fortitude, I think RFK Jr. said. Whatever the case is. World's changing fast, folks. We're doing the best we can, and we're going to keep doing the best we can. I think we're seeing a lot of people kind of show who they are. I just want you guys to be careful, be wary, be careful who they're yelling at and screaming at. I see Mike Flynn kind of getting weird lately here too. He's getting really emotional about stuff and kind of sort of putting a lot of pressure on people that I think he's trying to put pressure on, but I don't know. Keep kind of wondering. Again, I'm not going to say anything bad about him. I've been a huge supporter of Flynn, but he's acting weird lately. Being very emotional. Very emotional. It's very strange. I don't understand it. Maybe it's just the posts that I'm seeing. Maybe those kind of the ones that are popping up in my purview are the ones that, grabbed their attention because of the emotionality to it. Who knows? Strange stuff. A lot of people are trying to take advantage or steer people quickly or get people to want instant stuff. I don't know. It just seems weird. I feel like things are happening. I feel like things are happening quickly. I keep talking about it. There's so many examples of it. I get there's certain things on our bucket list that we want now. I get that. But can we appreciate that a lot is happening and that some of these things we want now could actually have fallout that would be significantly bad? As much as we'd be like, I don't care. I mean, if half the country loses their retirement because of something that Trump can be blamed for, right? Is that worth it? Just so you can get your list? Sometimes I think we got to think bigger, guys. We got to understand there's a war going on, and we got to win this war. We have to. We only get, I don't know, probably another 7-8 months to do it. At least far enough to where we can get a solid election. And then once we get that election, if we can get a solid election, think of how many seats will change. Now we've got 60 votes. Now we've got 2/3. Now we can do it. Hang tight, guys. Help move this ball forward. We're going to get there. And the arrests will come. I honestly have no doubt of that. When is the question, not if. When. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.